So, picture this. Earth used to be this lush, green paradise where colossal dinosaurs totally ran the show. Huge flying reptiles filled the sky, casting these massive shadows over everything. And honestly, life was just incredibly easy for them. But way out in the dark, deep space, trouble was quietly brewing. A massive space rock the size of a mountain was just floating out there in the cold emptiness. An asteroid. And it wasn't going to stay still for long. It started moving, flying through the dark, heading straight for our planet. Earth's gravity reached out and grabbed that space rock like a giant cosmic magnet. It pulled it in so fast it turned into a blistering fireball. And down below, the dinos were totally clueless, just munching leaves and chilling, looking up at the bright sky without a single worry. Then this intense new light appeared. It was brighter than the sun and growing fast. The huge rock crashed hard into the water near a place we now call Mexico, and the ground just shook violently. It was literally the loudest sound ever. The shockwave knocked down tall trees, throwing nearby dinosaurs right into the air. The hit instantly melted the ground, turning solid rocks into hot liquid that sprayed high up into the sky, turning the clouds this terrifying apocalyptic red. It triggered massive ocean waves, tsunamis taller than the absolute tallest buildings you can imagine, and they just rushed onto the dry land. All those splashing, melted rocks that flew up to space cooled down into tiny glass beads and rained back down on Earth, making the air extremely hot. It sparked huge wildfires everywhere, spreading like a dropped match in a dry paper forest. The smoke from all those fires made the sky completely dark, turning bright day into pitch black night. A thick cloud of dust covered the Earth, trapping all that smoke and ash. And the darkness, it just didn't go away. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and the sun was completely hidden. Without it, the warm world turned freezing cold. Ice formed on the rivers, and gentle winds turned into freezing storms. The green leaves turned brown and died, and the forests slowly disappeared. Massive plant-eating dinosaurs, like the Triceratops, grew incredibly weak and tired. Soon, all the big plants were just gone. The huge plant eaters slowly fell to the ground, disappearing forever. And then the meat eaters, like the mighty T-Rex, had a huge problem. With the plant eaters gone, they began to starve too. The big dinosaurs just needed way too much food. Their massive bodies, which used to be so powerful, were now their biggest weakness because they couldn't find enough energy. Even in the oceans, the huge swimming reptiles starved because the tiny sea plants died out. Everything became quiet and empty. The large flying reptiles fell from the sky, and pterodactyls vanished entirely. Almost all the big animals were dead. The Earth felt completely silent. But deep down, a quiet group was hiding out. Tiny mammals lived under the ground. These little animals ate bugs and dead plants, staying warm in deep holes. Some small dinosaurs with soft feathers survived too, using their beaks to crack open seeds. Crocodiles rested in cold mud, turtles hid deep in the water, and frogs slept at the bottom of ponds, just waiting out the dark. And then, slowly, the worst part was over. The thick dust began to clear, the heavy clouds finally broke apart, and this tiny, warm ray of sunlight touched the freezing ground. The sun warmed the Earth again, melting the thick ice so clear water could flow in the rivers. The sky turned blue, and sunlight woke up the hidden seeds buried in the dirt. Tiny green shoots poked through the soil, and the plants started coming back. First the small ferns, then tall trees, turning the world green again. Those tiny mammals finally poked their noses out of their holes and looked around this massive, empty world. With the heavy dinosaurs gone forever, they were totally safe. They ran through the new forests, climbed the growing trees, and just claimed the empty world as their own. Without the big dinosaurs around, the mammals grew larger, some reaching the size of dogs, others growing as large as elephants, and they totally took over the planet. Meanwhile, those surviving feathered dinosaurs built nests in the high branches and sang morning songs, filling the sky with birds. Down in the oceans, life slowly returned as well. New fish swam in the clear water, and sharks hunted in the deep sea. The oceans were full of energy again. Millions of years casually rolled by. The Earth changed so many times. Mountains rose up, rivers shifted their paths. But the memory of that colossal space rock, it stayed. In fact, we can still see the scar today. There is a huge crater sitting under the ocean down in Mexico. It marks that terrible day, sitting there shaped as a massive bowl made of cracked rock. Scientists study this crater to understand exactly what happened when the world changed so incredibly fast. And there is this wild secret clue buried deep in the ground everywhere you go. It's a thin layer of space dust that fell from that dark sky. Below this line of dust, you find dinosaur bones. Above the dust layer, 0 dinosaur bones. Absolutely none. That thin line of dust acts like a giant piece of cosmic caution tape across time, marking the exact end of the massive dinosaurs. The huge dinosaurs were the strongest animals on Earth, ruling for so long, but all that muscle couldn't stop a falling rock. Even the mighty can fall. On the flip side, the tiny mammals were weak and terrified, but their small size, that became their ultimate superpower. They could hide from the fire and the cold. Sometimes the absolute smallest survive the absolute worst. It's wild to think about. If that asteroid had just missed the Earth by a fraction, everything would be completely different. The dinosaurs might still be walking around today, and those tiny mammals would still be hiding in the dirt. We wouldn't even be here, because humans belong to the mammal family. We owe our entire existence to those brave, tiny survivors. Their struggle is literally our early story. The Earth is such a tough planet. It has survived freezing ice and burning fire, and life just always finds a way to keep going. Life is so much stronger than massive space rocks. We learn from those buried bones that a normal, quiet day can suddenly become a terrible disaster, and that the world is always shifting. That's why scientists today watch the sky for new rocks, to protect our home. The big dinosaurs are completely gone, leaving only their bones in the rocks, but a part of them is totally still alive. Every bird you see is literally a tiny dinosaur. A pigeon pecking at the sidewalk is an actual cousin of the T-Rex. They just learn how to fly. Next time you have a sunny day, just look up at the sky. Watch the birds gliding on the wind and think about that colossal rock from space. Think about those brave little mammals. Surviving isn't about being the biggest, it's about adapting. It makes you wonder, if another shift happens, what kind of tiny survivors will take over next? If you loved wandering through this wild puzzle with me, please drop a like, share this with a friend, and definitely subscribe so we can keep uncovering more amazing secrets together.